We are live. Good afternoon, everyone. So let's just jump straight in. I'm really, really excited to be joined by CJ Harrison. Me and CJ go way, way back, and we can spend hours talking about some of that stuff, but I'm not sure it's good. I want to recruit more people into my audience. I'm not sure I want to put them off if we start telling some of our stories. CJ, do you want to quickly introduce yourself, and then we'll talk about being an action taker?
Yeah, sure. So I'm CJ, as Paul said. I met Paul many, many years ago and got Facebook friends for, a long time now, and suddenly saw all of his posts on Cockpit Method and what he was doing. I was like, this is interesting. So, yeah, joined his Cockpit Method course and not really looked back from it since then. So I am currently in the process of setting up my own business, which is helping recruitment business leaders predominantly. And that's all around compliance training, making sure that all of their systems and processes are compliant. So GDPR, AWR, lots of very kind of boring stuff that nobody is interested in, but I slightly geek out about. So yeah, and Paul's obviously pushed me to do that through chatting with him, being part of his Cockpit Method, and as I say, not really looking back. Still working my notice. So I've got 3 weeks of work still to go at the moment, and then I'm out in the world, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I bet. Let loose in the big wide world.
Yeah.
So me and CJ were talking this morning about taking action. Obviously, that's something I'm talking about a lot at the moment. And we were talking about going live, just doing live videos. What do you think, CJ? What do you think about going live?
Yeah, slightly out of my comfort zone, not going to lie. So yeah, this is literally the first time I've seen StreamYard. I've done a couple of live posts on LinkedIn 1 year ago on Facebook. I don't like my own face. I'm one of those kinds of people. So I don't like to look at myself. And the thought of going live has always been slightly scary. So yeah, but it's, definitely out of my comfort zone, but it's all right. I've got a pilot with me. I mean, what can go wrong?
A lot. A lot could go wrong. You know the kind of stuff that could go wrong when you trust me. I like that you say you did a Facebook Live years ago. I did a Facebook Live hours ago and feel like it was like, I need to do another one. So here we are doing another one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that fear for me of, is anyone going to watch it? Is anyone going to be interested in what I'm saying? And have I got a great big spot on the side of my face? It's those kind of things that you just go, can't do it. But actually, you can. I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before, and I know I've drilled it into you that like this kind of stuff, it's always perception, right? Like your perception is ultimately what's going to drive you in the wrong direction. Like perception is what's going to stop you taking action, and sometimes you just need to do it. Feel the fear. What did we say, everyone? Feel the fear and land the plane.
Yeah,
that's in my notebook because Helen said it the other day, and I was like, right, I'm going to use that all the time. I'm never going to stop saying feel the fear and land the plane.
I think that perception thing for me was a massive thing because I've been so stressed. So the world that I worked in, or currently still working in, is very fast paced. It's temp freelancer recruitment for the media industry. It's like, I need someone to work in an hour's time, find me someone. So everything's and what happens with that is you get this culture of pressure of you thinking you have to reply to every single email immediately. And I think that sort of work that we've talked about perception of, that's my pressure. That's not what they're actually asking me. I think that sort of element of it was quite a key thing really for me to sort of get in my head. And I think that's one of the things that's been really good on working with Cockpit Method, is actually changing my mindset on a lot of things. And yeah, like you say, feeling the fear and landing the plane. I mean, my plane's still gliding, but it's going to land one day.
With a thump. It's just going to appear. If it's one of my landings, it'll definitely be down with a thump. It's a really interesting one, like feeling when we talk about feeling the fear and perception, because I think it's really easy when you get in your own head and you develop those kind of mental blocks that you do keep kicking the can down the road. And I think that's probably the biggest problem we find with people, with business owners at the moment, with entrepreneurs, that you do get into that mindset of, oh, this is going to be terrible, so I'll put it off. Going live on LinkedIn, so I'm not going to do it today. I will do it, but I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow you don't do it. You do it the next day. You do it the next day. You do it the next day, and eventually it becomes worse and worse and worse. So what was kind of, when I messaged you this morning and said, CJ, I think we should do a live together. What kind of went through your head when you read it?
Well, I'm not going to lie. When the message came up, I could only see the first few words, and it said, "Morning, do you fancy doing a live?" And I went, "Oh, I'm not reading this." Ooh. So it was avoid. And then I thought, no, actually, what can go wrong? Like, what harm can it do? And I think for me, one of the things that I've been trying to really do the last sort of month or so really is to get out of my comfort zone, because I have massive mental blocks, like you say. It's that fear of, will it work? Who am I to say that I know anything about this? Who am I to believe that people will buy this? Who am I to say that I'm some sort of expert in this? It's like, well, actually, I've done what I've done for 15 years. So if I don't know it now, surely I would have been sacked, 13 years ago. So I suppose it's trying to get rid of those mental blocks and push yourself. And that's the one thing that I've been trying to do as much as I can, is just push myself a bit further and take action when opportunity arises. So your message this morning was a terrifying but exciting opportunity. And here I am live.
Exactly. And now you can do it every day from now on.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know about that. No, I am going to try.
Good. That is good.
I think it's I think the video thing is something definitely for me, which is probably one of my biggest leaps. So it's nice to be able to be sort of not forced into it, not pushed into it, but just cajoled gently into it.
Exactly. And you got the comfort of having someone else there as well, I guess, someone who just can, I was going to say someone who knows what they're doing, but that person hasn't arrived yet. maybe they'll appear at some point soon.
Still waiting for them
to join. Yeah, exactly. The knight in shining armor is going to save us from our crazy ramblings.
Yeah.
I think you're completely right. Like, taking action, for me, taking action is about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Like, it's the only way, really. When we talked about that thing of perception, it's the only way you ever can really get over your own perception, is to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, try and do something every single day that takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it is funny. It's really interesting when you talk to somebody and you see those mental blocks. Like, you can have that conversation. You can see the blocks in front of you. I had a conversation with someone this morning, and there were some insanely obvious blocks in front of me. I won't name them just in case, but I could just see it, and I was like, but if you do this, that's going to fix that problem. And every time there was a response, there was always but I can't because I'm doing this, or I can't because I'm doing that. I think the biggest thing that people are saying right now is they've got the kids at home. That seems to be the biggest reason for people not to take action. And you think, well, most people have had their kids at home now for a year, with lockdown and all that kind of stuff. You can't have a year where you don't take action. You've got to respond to it at some point, and you've got to finally.
I think that was a big thing for me, really, is I've massively left a safety net. Like, I've, as I say, 15 years of a career, respected in my company for what I knew and what I do, and it's safe. It's so safe. And I have kind of just thrown caution to the wind, and jumped without the safety net there anymore. But I think for me, I couldn't have carried on how I was. And if I didn't do something, if I didn't take any action, I would have been stuck there another 15 years. And I say stuck there, I mean, I have enjoyed my time there and I've learned so much. But I was very aware that I had a CV of 15 years in one company. And was I prepared to make that 20, 25 years, 30 years? And if you don't get started, you're never going to know what you've got ahead of you. I saw, I think it was an advert, it might even been a KFC advert, which always sucks me in. But anyway, I think it's some sort of advert, and it said, you don't have to be amazing to start, but you have to start to be amazing. And it really struck me of, what am I waiting for? Like, what piece of the puzzle do I think I'm missing that I'm waiting for, that suddenly if that clicked into place, I'd go, oh, amazing. Right, now I'm ready. It's like, well, that might never come. It might never come, but you have to start. And I think that for me was a big thing of staying where I wasn't an option. It just wasn't working for me. And I'd spent all this time helping somebody else build up their business and always putting myself on a back burner. And I was just like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want my own future, my own world. And don't get me wrong, I've loved working alongside them and learned a huge amount from them. But like I said in my initial post about the business on LinkedIn, I felt like I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's time to step out and put my fear on the line, as it were.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's funny with me with this webinar that I'm doing. I've been talking to so many people recently, loads of people I'm mentoring, and saying to them, well, this is the process. You need to bring your audience in, do a webinar for them, give them loads of value, and then give them an option to progress and do something else. And it was only over the weekend when I was thinking to myself, what is the journey in my business? And it kind of almost didn't exist in the same way. Like, I was following a slightly different process. I was like, actually, this thing that I'm really good at, and this thing that I can mentor, I can, why aren't I doing it? Why aren't I maximizing it? And then it just all kind of fell into place within an hour. But it's so interesting that thing that you mentioned about kind of forcing yourself to take that jump. So you've now handed your notice in, so you have a set amount of time now where you have to make it work. And it was the same with me with my redundancy. Like, you sometimes just taking that jump is everything you need. It's going to kick everything into place in order to force you to take that consistent action every day.
I think that was a big thing for me as well, is like looking back at my past. When I left school, I went to do theatre studies, and everyone was like, why are you doing that? Like, that's not a career.
Why did you do that? It's a rubbish career.
Because I loved it. That's not a career. And I was like, well, no, I want to do something I love. So I kind of ignored all of that and did it anyway. And throughout my sort of freelancing career as a theatre designer, I took risks. I remember one time I was doing a show and I needed a sofa. And the sofa that I had in my flat with my boyfriend at the time was perfect. So I took it out of the flat and took it to the set and used it for my design without actually telling him.
Wow.
And little mad things like that I would never think twice about. I would just do it. And I always had that confidence that I would find the next freelance job, and belief in that. And I think that's the thing, is I was looking back at those times and thinking, why am I not doing that now? When did I stop being a risk taker? Don't get me wrong, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I'm not anything, I never was. But there's just something about, as I've got older, that fear kind of eats away a little bit more. And suddenly I was thinking, why can't I do this now? I would have done it then. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's quite interesting to know that you did that for theatre. I never did anything like that for theatre.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy when he got home. I'm not going to lie.
yeah, I can't imagine going around and like taking all the lights out of my house and using them. I don't think I ever did anything. I think the worst I ever did when I worked in theatre is just not coming home because I
never even took it back either.
Really?
I left it at the drama school, and I managed to arrange with a friend to borrow to have one of her old 3-piece suites. So we then borrowed a van to pick that up, and on the way we crashed the van.
Oh wow.
So this free van that we borrowed, it was a whole pickle, all of my own creation. But in the end, it all worked out fine, and yeah, he forgave me eventually. For
Sounds about right. That's the theatre mentality. But that's a really interesting thing about the difference between having an office job or having an actual job, I guess, versus being a freelancer or being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, whatever we're calling it today. Because I saw something somebody wrote recently about the difference between an entrepreneur and a pilot. It was really interesting about pilots could never be an entrepreneur because pilots don't take risks. And I thought that was such an interesting point and absolute rubbish, because we take risks every day, like every single day. When I sit on the end of the runway and go, shall I go flying? That's a massive risk. I don't know what's about to happen. Like, I'm ready for whatever's going to happen, but I kind of don't take the same sort of, it's definitely a risk job. But I think entrepreneurs can be better at taking risk. And I think that's the problem. I think there is too much of like, just throw everything at the wall and see if something sticks. Whereas I think we can be so much better at actually working out, I don't know what's going to happen if I try this thing. If I launch my own business, I don't know whether it's going to succeed or not, but I have the tools ready to give it the best shot I can give it. And that's kind of the philosophy we have when we go flying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that thing that you say about having the tools, I think it's so true. Actually, that it's those tools around you, your self-belief, your history, your experience, everything that's gone before, that gives you the confidence to take those risks and to know actually you can land your plane. I remember, again, back in theatre world, designing a show, and the whole set was fabric. It was an entirely sewn set, and I designed it. I was so proud of it, loved it, did my little model. And then I sat and I looked at it. I think it was actually the first production meeting as I was presenting it. And I said to myself, not to them, I don't know how to sew. But I was confident enough that I would make it work, and that I had a couple of people that I could borrow to help me in terms of teach me the basics of sewing, and the confidence in the tools and the skills that I had to know I would make it work. And I think that's the thing, is there's a difference between a sort of taking risks willy-nilly, but actually knowing that what you've got within you or around you is going to support you to see it through.
Yeah, calculated risk, I guess. But I don't think business owners or entrepreneurs take those calculated risks enough. I think sometimes it's, we follow our heart a bit too much, or it's, I've got this passion to do this thing, so I'm just going to go do it without really thinking through the consequences or the implications. And actually, I don't think it would take that much to think it through. In fact, I know it wouldn't take that much to think it through. Surprise, surprise, I teach it. Decision making. As a pilot, I can make a decision in 5 minutes that has a life or death consequence, and I can guarantee myself a positive outcome. Like, it is that simple. It is that black and white.
I think that's something that I definitely would love to see, the kind of background workings of a pilot's mind, because I'm a terrible flyer. I'm so scared of flying. So actually, to know that a pilot has that utter trust in what they're doing is quite reassuring to me. I remember being on a plane once, and somebody, it was a horrifically bad snowstorm. I think I was landing in Boston, horrifically bad snowstorm, and it was all very kind of calm, very, very calm. And at the end of it, there was this huge round of applause for the pilot for landing the plane, and we ended up being sort of snow trucked into the actual terminal. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it's like he's just done this most incredible thing that he's never done before. And I was thinking, surely he's done it before. Please tell me this man's done this before.
First time flying. You never know. Could have been the first one. It's funny, and that's happened to me before, where a passenger gets off and they're like, wow, that was amazing, well done. And you're like, oh, was it? You just think to yourself, oh, was that particularly bad today then? Was it quite rough? Because it is just second nature. You just kind of deal with it. The problem we always have in aviation is, especially for me when I used to do the regional flying, is if it's a bad weather day, it's a bad weather day everywhere. So you don't get away from it. So you got to do 6 landings. That's like horrific, everywhere you go. And by the last one, you're like, just do anything to get through this. Like, let's just get through it, get in the car and drive home. And then of course, driving home is just as nightmarish as well. But yeah, so it's quite a nice segue into Pilot Your Business webinar, because as CJ pointed out, this stuff does work, and it's really easy to implement into your business. It makes a massive difference just having something in place that's going to force you to take action every single day. It's not going to be me sending you a message and saying, let's go live right now. But it's the methods that pilots use every day to take action and get results. Because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we are our own worst enemy. We hold ourselves back all the time. So if we had something in place that would stop us from holding ourselves back, it's win-win, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, no, definitely. As queen of procrastinators, I'd say you've done me proud, Paul.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, Thursday next week at 3:00 on Zoom, Pilot Your Business webinar. We're going to teach you how to take action. CJ can't be there live, but as always, there's a recording. Ta-da! Yay. Everyone loves a recording.
Definitely get my hands on that one.
Yes, so that you can procrastinate after the event and watch it.
Well, no, you see, I like to see things afterwards as well, because it just gives you that chance to kind of watch it again and again and take what you can from it. So, but you also, when you're doing a live one, obviously you can communicate with people.
Absolutely, and there'll be a workbook and all that good stuff. There's always stuff to go with it to help you take action forever. Brilliant. Well, we have procrastinated for 21 minutes and 50 seconds.
Good grief.
I know. I can procrastinate for hours.
Oh, I know. Definitely.
Thank you so much, CJ. It's always nice to speak to you. You've got your first live out the way now, so that's it. Now there's no stopping you.
Indeed. No, I'm on to content this afternoon, so I'm going to be posting some bits out myself. So
brilliant.
That's my action for the day.
Nice. We'll keep an eye out for it then. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul. Soon. Bye.